Okay, I've got $20 here. So that narrows it down to me and Jeremy. Okay, so only narrows it down to me and Jeremy right there. I gave more. I mean, what's in there? Also, to Ernie, this isn't part of my set at all, but some of us are doing this with water tonight. Cheers, Ernie. This is fun. Does anyone want to take a public photo of me with water? Please post it on social media. I'm now sponsored by Texas Spring Water.
Winner.
There we go. I'm glad some of you got that, maybe all of you. So it's kind of funny coming up here all night, actually sitting out there. I heard people say, who here likes football? Who here likes Tex? And it seemed like a pretty good segue, so I should be like, who here likes kids? Wow, that was one of those teacher things with Randy where he's like, yeah, I like kids. Well, I like kids too. They're fun. I've got two fun kids. One's a 9-year-old Gunner, maybe you've seen him on a couple commercials, and 6-year-old Hope. And they couldn't be more different. Anybody experience that? Two kids, completely different, same parents, same upbringing, right? And you have like no idea how that happened. One's Mother Teresa and the other is clearly not. It's clearly not. So, Hope wrote the first part of my set tonight. I actually didn't make any of this up. I just let her take it away, Hope. But she's a really thoughtful girl, just an adorable 6-year-old who's very strong-willed, but she says nice things. Like I fell on my bike not too long ago. It was June. I got, here we go, I have 18 stitches because I don't know how to balance, apparently. Well, actually, I found that out recently, too. Yeah. I didn't have that was not planned. That was actually not planned.
Wow!
Now, goodness.
That's not
So Hope wrote me an adorable note, and it said, Mom, I'll love you forever. I just love you so much, and I'll even, you know what, I'll even love you when you're dead. Oh, you're so cute. I know, she's so cute. And she said she meant it. She meant it. And so, not long after that, Hope, I mean, she's not only just a thoughtful kid writing these kinds of notes, but she's also extremely practical. So the other day she lost her tooth, and of course the big question was, Hope, what are you saving your money for? What are you going to use it for? And she goes, well, I'm going to save this until I have babies. Babies? She goes, yeah. You tell us how expensive we are all the time, so I figured I'd start saving right now. Okay, and then she followed it right up with, I hear having babies really, really hurts. And I was like, well, yeah, where did you hear that from? And she's like, how does the show? And she goes, and so I've decided once I do have a baby, that I'm gonna need a Band-Aid. And I was like, a Band-Aid? Hope? I mean, what? And before I knew what I was doing, I stopped and immediately said, why are we talking about this? Why are we talking about this? But she's also really smart. She's really, really smart because Gunnar, her brother, I was telling him about Mount Everest, and I was like, Mount Everest is pretty dangerous. You get up there, lack of oxygen, and it's freezing cold, and because he had just been talking about geography in his 4th grade class, and so we got into this topic, and he's like, Mom, can we talk about something else? I really don't care about Mount Everest and all these things you're telling me about it, really. And Hope goes, Gunnar, that's not very smart. Mom is telling us because someday you might be walking around and oops, you end up at the top of Mount Everest where it's very dangerous, and because Mom's telling you exactly where it is, you won't ever end up there and die. Like, you can't. So she's actually extremely smart, but Gunnar's pretty smart. He just stays right out of it too. So he takes the other angle of intelligence and just doesn't really get into things that much because the other day we heard a big slam. I don't know if your kids slam the doors around the house every now and then, but it irritates the bejeebers out of us when we just hear this boom. And my husband runs over there immediately and looks in the room and goes, okay, somebody tell me who did it. What happened? And Gunnar goes, I'm not going to lie, Dad. It wasn't me. So he's pretty smart. He stays out of things. But the other difficult thing is to feed kids. Feeding kids, it's very difficult. They're picky about what they like. You have to go around and only serve them certain foods, certain chicken nuggets, certain French fries, so certain bean and cheese tacos. And so one day, let me tell you how difficult this got. I was out there we were out at a parade. The kids were getting hungry and they want a bean and cheese taco. So what do I see? I see Taco Bell, right? That makes sense. Let's go to Taco Bell. Taco Bell has bean and cheese tacos, right? Sure. So I went into Taco Bell and I walked right up and said I'd like 2 bean and cheese tacos. And the guy looked at me. We don't have bean and cheese tacos. I was like, what? Okay, wait, you don't have bean and cheese tacos. I go, sir, I'm looking at your menu. Do you have beans? Yes. And I see you've got cheese as well. Yes, we do. But you don't have bean and cheese taco? No, ma'am. Okay. I was like, no problem. How can I arrange for myself to get just beans and cheese in the taco? He goes, I'll tell you what. Right here, if you could just order a number 1. Order the number 1 without lettuce, tomatoes, cheese, or no, we wanted cheese. With no lettuce, tomatoes, no meat, no sour cream, and no pico. And that'll leave just the bean and cheese. Okay, sir, I'd like 2 of those so I can get 2 bean and cheese tacos. Ma'am, you can't order it that way. This is very tough, guys. This bean and cheese tacos here you want from Taco Bell is getting very difficult. And I go, okay, I'd like the number 1. Leave out all these ingredients except for the beans and cheese. And I go, you know what, it's going to be a long day. I'd also like the number 2 with no sour cream, no meat, no onions, no, and I started listing everything on there, and he goes, ma'am, you realize you just ordered a flour tortilla and a side of queso. And I said, yeah, it wasn't on there. I just wanted 6 flour tortillas and queso, so I'm just going to order this number 2 without all of those ingredients so I can get some 6 flour tortillas and queso. So who knew that ordering 2 bean and cheese tacos could be so difficult? Look it up at Taco Bell next time you go over there. Kids, they're difficult. But, so on all serious note, I think a lot of you maybe in here know of a recent incident that involved me and possibly a lot of these folks that are from the news in this room. You may know about what recently happened. For those of you that don't, I hope you can catch on when I mentioned that I did stay recently. I had a brief stay at the Bexar County Inn and Suites. Yep, I had my own suite for a little bit. It's nice and quiet. But the matter itself, I want to say before I go into this next portion, is an absolutely serious one, and there's nothing funny about that. However, in my time in the suite, I had a lot of time to think about the jokes I'd be telling up here. The ones after that. So it changed the way I think a lot. It did. It changed the way I go out and about and do things. And so the other day, I threw a Sunday Fun Day party, and we got 2 kegs. Dramatic changes. And we got 2 kegs, and I invited some friends over, and they were having a good time, and the football was on, and we had guys doing all sorts of stuff. We had people swinging from our, those rain drain chains. We had people swinging from that. Get a little bit more out of the keg. They started dunking basketballs into the basketball hoop on our pool, doing flips. One guy was making a grass angel. You ever seen a snow angel? This guy's making a grass angel in our grass. Things were getting crazy, just crazy. But I'm in a different place, but I'm not going to ruin their fun. They're not in the same place I'm in. So I let them carry on until we floated both those kegs. And I'm gonna say the fun got even better. But again, like I said, I'm not going to ruin their fun. They were smiling way too much. So I never told them they were 2 kegs of O'Doul's. I did not tell them that it was only O'Doul's in those kegs. Thank you very much. Make sure you drink your water tonight before you leave. And I appreciate you.